I'll say this. I think everyone can get the work done they want. Do the damn thing. I think when, again, like back to Kylie, when people deny they've gotten anything done, it's just like no one wants to admit they've gotten stuff done, but it's like, let's be
I don't
realistic
see
for
the
a
harm
second.
in that.
Yeah, it's like,
I think it's better to like talk about
yeah,
what you've had done and what you like and what you don't like.
you want to make
Like,
yourself look good, feel good. And I don't think it makes anybody feel good if you're denying, if there is something you've gotten done, like it makes you feel like you're not telling the truth. And then people also feel like you're not telling the truth.
It's the Pop Report. So juicy.
It's time to be as gay as you can be, as gay as you can ever be, because it is officially past June 1st, which means some people come out of hibernation like you. Be more bitchy gay than ever. No, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? What's today? I was like, is today Monday? It's Tuesday.
I don't know what date it is anymore. All I
Wait,
know
you
is,
signed an apartment lease.
oh, thank God. Happy fucking Pride Month. Found a home. For those people who deal with brokers for buying a home, I get it. For renting a home, why do we deal with a broker? If you ever get a broker for renting a home, I despise you because it has been too much work, especially going into the Olympics of the year for me, Pride Month.
How is your Olympic month starting?
Well, it's interesting because I've never worked for a gay publication in Pride Month. So like everything is news. Anything that's happening is news. So I have worked 7 days in a row, 10 days in a row, something like that in the past like week or two, like leading up to this and getting through things. So eyes were bloodshot at one point, but we're fine.
Fun.
Yeah, little things. Do you celebrate Pride Month, you little gay boy?
I mean, how do you celebrate Pride Month? You suck some extra dick?
I don't know. I was wondering how you do it. What's on your agenda when the month hits?
I mean, it's my birthday month, so I celebrate my birthday. But I don't think I've ever been to Pride.
Really?
I don't think I've ever been to a Pride. I'm trying to think. No, I don't think. Well, because like especially Pride in LA, like West Hollywood, there's so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
Getting in and out of West Hollywood is like such a is like
Clusterfuck.
a clusterfuck. It's a disaster. So I tend to avoid Pride like the plague.
And the
But
public.
everybody looks like they're having fun.
Yeah, I mean, you also don't go to like, I mean, LA, WeHo, this, I feel like for this city
Oh,
is
because
very,
now we have like WeHo Pride and then we have like Pride. Like there are now different prides. There's so much pride happening.
well, this year there's no LA Pride. Well, this is the unfortunate thing because of economic changes and more. Also, there's no LA Pride. Usually there's like LA Pride, WeHo Pride, but I'm also like, put them together. There's no real celebration that they used to do for LA Pride except for a parade this year now. There used to be musical artists and more. Mariah Carey performed in the past. We got out of WeHo Pride, you know. WeHo Pride is also, it's just very drinking heavy, drinking forward. And it's
Yeah.
like,
It's a
I've
lot.
been to other prides that are very like hometown glory. I love DC Pride, Orlando. There's a lot of stuff that makes you feel like, how sweet, how wholesome. Here it's like, let's drink and be out in the streets, which
It's
different
very
strokes for
intense.
different folks, which
Yeah.
maybe explains why you haven't been to a pride before, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I'm not typically in any other cities during Pride events. So the only Pride that would be in proximity to be would be West Hollywood Pride. I know they've had like a bunch of Pride events here in downtown. I haven't been to any of those though.
Well, maybe we'll get you to one. Maybe we'll get you a nice drag show where you can have a little Martine in hand. So,
Okay.
sounds appealing. Maybe.
How was your initial Pride weekend? Did you have fun? I mean, this is like you said, this is your Olympics.
This is,
You
well,
just
this is
chug and
also,
come like it's a job.
we're about to, because it's also our 100th episode celebrating 100 episodes of the Pop Report. I don't know how we fucking did it. I don't know why y'all
Yeah.
listen. Every day I'm just like, y'all want what? Why?
More.
Who said that? Especially in Pride Month.
The
Um,
comments.
no, I mean it's just a nice trajectory into this month. Celebrating out the weekend into WeHo Pride, celebrating 100 episodes of our podcast, which crazy to think about. Like 100 times we got behind a microphone and just talked, yapped, cried. We didn't cry too much, maybe like one blip, but no, it is interesting because like all these submissions for work are like, hey gay, Haagen-Dazs has made a new skin. Hey gay, do you want to come cover Cara Delevingne in like this parade route? I'm like, you know, if you say hey gay one more time, I might come. I might think about it. You might get
Is there
me
anything
somewhere.
fun that you have planned for Pride this month?
So for me, I'm going to World Pride. I've never been to a World Pride because every city has a Pride. You see a lot of like different celebrations that happen, like we said, hometowns, big cities in the US. Every year, World Pride happens, which they pick a different city. It's been in Amsterdam, it's been in many different countries, Cape Town, Africa. This year it's in Washington, D.C., where I grew up. And so I'm privileged enough to get to go for work. And Washington, D.C. was my first Pride ever. Fun fact, my first Pride ever was I volunteered as a photographer for Capitol Pride in Washington, D.C. So that was my first memory, just running through a parade route like with a camera and like snapping photos. So nearly a decade later since I did that, I am now going to be at World Pride in the same city. So it's just crazy full circle. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, I'm trying not to just burn out in this marathon of Pride because work is working. There's been interviews with Rita Ora, Betty Who, just interviewed Trisha Paytas yesterday.
Fun.
Right? She had her rainbow little bangs together, and I'm like, hey, girl. So
Wasn't she trans?
she's had a lot of different journeys of coming out. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
What is
so,
she now?
Honestly, don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. She was very sweet to talk to, though. Had a glorious time with her. But yeah, she is also performing at World Pride, pregnant.
Oh, this is her first baby? Second baby?
Second, I want to say, child.
Yeah, I think it's the second. Oh,
At-
is it not a bit? Are we
Well-
not allowed to say baby?
No, I meant just like second child. Like,
Oh.
can you imagine? No more
I didn't know
child.
if we weren't allowed to say baby anymore.
Justin Bieber can't. We can't.
Baby, 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 oh, like baby, 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 oh.
I feel like that's your favorite thing, and like anytime we
It's
just
my
do a-
favorite song. Like, it
Really?
really is one of my favorite songs. I love that song. Oh my God, that's like the best. When you're cleaning, when you're running, just a little baby, baby, baby. Like, baby.
Two
baby,
really good
baby.
examples of when you should sing that song: cleaning, running, maybe podcasting. But speaking of podcasting, if you like this podcast, like and subscribe, do the damn thing. I think we have a lot to get into today.
Yes.
Normal episode as usual for our 100, keeping it real, keeping it fun. But obviously just tooting our little whistle that it's 100. I feel 100 sometimes. But Zachary, where do you want to start off this episode with?
I mean, I feel like there's a lot for us to get into this week. I don't know. Should we start with Taylor?
Oh
Like,
my
she's-
God. Yeah, like we have a bit of music news to get into, some big monumental things in pop culture. I'm sure that probably half the internet has probably seen this photo of the darling Taylor seated almost like a Britney-esque photo shoot with all of her albums. But Taylor has now claimed ownership of her masters. So this means every single song that she has ever produced, she fully owns. No more tossed around by other publishing groups, people. She owns it. I don't know what that price was she paid. Don't know.
I think it was like 300 million.
I mean, I know that like the bids when they went back and forth were like just astronomical. I have no idea if there was the actual amount of that.
Yeah,
hundreds of
360
millions.
million.
But, you know, she could have paid that outright. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she's like, I own these. Can I get a discount? But she owns them. And that honestly, in my opinion, came out of nowhere. It was very out of the blue. I think, number one, good for her. Number two, if she did pay this like hundreds of millions of dollars, good for her. She has the ability to do that, put that money down and say, I own everything. Maybe she made that from the tour. Maybe she got a discount. Who knows?
I mean, I
But
think her net worth has got to be pretty up there. She's one of the biggest stars in the world right now. 360, I mean, yes, is a substantial amount of music, but like it's not, I don't know. I think that's a fair. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, she's laughing her way to the bank because not only did she make the money off of the original tracks, but then she re-recorded them, re-released them, and then had
yeah,
her audience basically buy it all over again. And then now on top of that, she owns both the re-records and the originals, and her fans are listening to everything all over again, driving her streaming numbers up, which I know that they've I think doubled at this point. So, I mean, she's rolling in the dough. She doesn't have to work. I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point, 360 is nothing.
I mean, who knows? Like, when it comes to a big chunk of change like that, also, do you have a payment plan? Is this like a month-to-month payment?
I don't
Like,
think so.
do you just write a check for 360 and go, bye, thank you, wire drop? But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a wire drop.
so she also is still going to be releasing
Yeah, her net worth
Reputation,
is 1.6 billion.
you
So this
know,
is not even, I mean, it's maybe about a quarter of her worth. But
that's
when you compare what she made off of her last Eras tour, not to mention all streams from here on out, that money is going back to her for both the re-records and the originals. So, I mean, listen, she's really smart, and I think she did a really uh, she's a smart marketer, or at least the team behind her is smart at marketing, and I think they knew how to resell the music to the fans and make her feel like they supported her or make them feel like they helped her achieve this again. I mean, Taylor Swift is
mhm.
loaded. It's I don't know. I never really thought that she was as big of a victim in the whole Scooter Braun sale because I think people don't realize there are other stars that get screwed much worse than Taylor Swift has gotten screwed. She was in a very privileged place. She's still one of the biggest musicians in the world. She was able to re-record all of her music and profit off of that again without anybody owning her original or with them owning her original tracks. So I think she's smart. She has a smart team behind her that helped her market this, and she double dipped into the pot, and her fans supported her for it. And listen, she's doing well.
Yeah, I mean, all those fees to re-record, everything else, who knows? She's still going to release Reputation TV, and
No, she's not.
is she not?
She said that.
She said no more?
She said that she's tried to re-record it, but she's re-recorded some of the tracks, and we've seen some of the tracks that have been played, like The Handmaid's Tale when they
Mhm.
showed "Look What You Made Me Do." But she said that as of right now, she doesn't have any interest in doing that. I mean,
Hmm.
granted, she doesn't have to at this point because she now owns the
Yeah.
original. So I don't know. I
Well,
don't think
redacted
that
for
she
my
will.
statement. Yeah, like it's same thing. It's like what's not what's the point, but you have them, and also that was an album that also is a interesting time of her career. So like to also come back to that, she's probably like,
Yeah, she kind of
yeah,
said that in her statement that like it was such a unique time in her life that to recreate that she's just not in the same like I guess headspace. And so she says that maybe one day if there's enough demand for it, maybe, but it didn't sound like she was
yeah.
doing that
Here's
anytime soon.
in this article from the Hollywood Reporter, she said she'd revealed she re-recorded less than a quarter of
Yeah.
Reputation, and though she had confirmed she'd already completed the re-records of her debut album. So she said, quote, those two albums can still have their moments to reemerge when the time is right, if that would be something you guys would be excited about. But if it happens, it won't be from a place of sadness and longing for what I wish I could have. It will be a celebration. Now, I don't know when that would come. Like when?
I think it would have come. I think fans were right. They were speculating that it was supposed to drop this month, but I don't think that. I'm sure her team's been in negotiation for years at this point to buy back the Masters. It was a matter of timing. And also, what a brilliant time to do this and to announce this to deflect from all the Blake Lively stuff. And now there's no conversations really linking Taylor and Blake together anymore. Like she can now focus on her music and some triumphant victory rather than some, other celebrity tabloid fodder. But Yeah, I mean, I think she was probably originally going to re-release Reputation,
And
and
the sale
then
just came up at a good
the
time.
sale came through, and she's like, "Fuck it, I don't need to do this anymore. I'm rich."
And coinciding with Taylor, we have Sabrina, who also was on Taylor's tour, skyrocketed from
I'm a
intro.
singer.
She has a new song. She's entering the arena,
Yay.
which we need some more Sabrina because I feel like we had such a fun time listening to Taste last summer and more. Like she gave us so much, and she is coming up with a new single called "Manchild," which is on June 5th.
Is that about who was the Timothy Chalamet? No, who is she dating?
Um, Rat Boy.
Yeah, what's his name? What's his name?
I just want to see you squirm for a second.
What is his name?
Barry Keoghan.
Barry Keoghan. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's teasing. I mean, she has been teasing in the very same vein that she was talking about her Coachella performance. She posted the album artwork, a teaser trailer, and then she put the caption, "There's one, this one's about you." And so this also was produced by Jack Antonoff. And honestly, I really hope that, there's always this pressure, the girls who are like having to deliver when they have their big moment. Who knows? I don't know if it's going to deliver, honestly. But like, that's me being generous, so I can still like, have a couple silent sleepers that come through. In my opinion, when Gaga released Disease, was not my favorite. Abracadabra blew me the fuck up. So the lead single is not always the best single. I hope in this case that she does well with it. And she looks good, I'll say that much. She posted this teaser clip that was like 16 seconds. And she has denim cutoffs. She's on the side of the road. She has her thumb up with a suitcase. I think it's fun. It's very campy. I think she's found her like art voice because I don't think that she had as much commercial success as she did with any other album compared to her last one.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited. I like Sabrina Carpenter. I hope she's not like a Katy Perry though, where she has like a hot couple of years and then just kind of like fades out, because the shtick kind of just gets a little stale. But I
think
Sabrina
Sabrina's
Carpenter.
humble. Like when I see her accepting her awards and like talking about her
new.
discography, she's like, I'm just here. I'm just lucky, like lucky to be here. So she's just another girl compared to some others. Different.
Well, you know who else is humble? The
Who?
ever so humble Kylie Jenner. Humble about her boobs.
I saw this today, and the Kardashians love to make noise out of nothing and stay silent when they need to stay silent. This one came out of nowhere, though. Everyone's talked about Kylie Jenner for years, right? Like, what does she look like? What does she not look like compared to as a teenager? Has she gotten her lips done? Has she gotten her boobs done? All these surgeries? Every Kardashian gets the question. And this time, Kylie Jenner actually tried to clap back. Kind of. I say kind of. Because there was a TikTok comment going around. This article from Page 6 is what I have pulled up here. She was obviously the talk of speculation of, is this girl getting a boob job? But this girl on social media basically asked Kylie, said, help a girl out, Kylie Jenner. I just want to know how to get them to sit like that respectfully. And this fan also said she had the most perfect natural boob job ever, which...
When you have Kylie Jenner money, you can afford that.
A natural boob job. So I think
Kylie's...
Kylie's...
like natural looking.
Yeah. I think Kylie's also like, I'm tired of seeing this discussion. Maybe she's like, let me actually help a girl out. Who knows if she was like here for the comedy or not. She went to respond with the actual size that she had put in. And she, I think in like the Keeping Up with the Kardashians, or somewhere, she went on to provide the name of the doctor. Yeah. Or no, sorry, I'm reading this wrong. Oh, I hate when they say Keeping Up with the Kardashians alum. She went on to say it's a 445 cc and is estimated to be between a D and a DD cup, depending on the starting breast size.
Okay, this is how you know Andy is gay. So it's a double D. There's D's and double D's, and so this is kind of like right between. But I believe it's the way it's done. It's not just like a classic implant. They have it put under the muscle, and it's. I'm surprised that she got silicone breasts done because I feel like silicone is what people are trying. Yeah, I feel like silicone is what people are drifting away from because there have been a
Yeah.
number of issues that women have had long term with silicone implants. Um, but yeah, I mean, those are relatively big. I didn't expect them.
Yeah.
Just, I guess she has such a petite frame, but it fits her body so naturally. Maybe because of the placement of them, it looks more natural. Um,
I mean,
that I wouldn't have guessed she had a D, or I guess it's a
a
little
double
bigger
D.
than a D, but right under a double D.
I mean, she has refuted so many times that she's gotten anything done. She denied in September 2015 that she had gone under the knife. She also said, I haven't gotten breast implants. Everyone is obsessed with that quote she wrote. And the following month, she tweeted, I haven't done anything except my lips, but nobody seems to believe that. When she was 18, that's what she had said.
Yeah.
So it's always been a topic of discussion of like, what does she have going on? What is she not? I think when people are just candid about the work they've had done, people are like, that's fine. Get it. You look good. But when people are like, no, 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 I didn't do anything, everyone's like, then how can I attain a look like that if it's not being forthcoming about it? So she also made headlines in 2023 about admitting to getting a boob job at age 19. So yeah, like I feel like the topic of the Kardashians getting surgical work done is always going to be a topic of discussion. And Zack is gone because an issue at his podcast studio is happening. Anyway, so that being said, Kardashians are Kardashian. And I personally have seen a lot of different reports come up or photos about Kim and like what Kim's gotten done, what Kim hasn't gotten done. I think that when it comes to these type of things too, the entirety of the family likes to keep it hush hush, and maybe they kind of pull out the receipts or like the rumor mill and say we'll give you some fodder when they need some news.
Yeah, I feel like they've become more transparent about what they've done, though. I feel like they addressed that on a recent episode of The Kardashians where Kylie's like, I think, we set beauty standards and sometimes we can set unrealistic beauty standards. And that's when I feel like they all started to become a lot more open with the procedures that they were having done. But people always have to remember, too, when they say, like, we haven't done surgery or a ton of surgery or I've only had my boobs done, Chloe was open about her nose job. But, like, there's a lot more that you can do now that's technically not considered plastic surgery. Like, I guess it comes down to like what people's definition of plastic surgery are, because like fillers and Botox technically aren't plastic surgery, they're injectables. Or now you can do like body contouring, now you can do cool sculpting, now there's air sculpt, there's fat transfers. So there are all these different tweaks and treatments that people can get done that still don't technically fall under plastic surgery, where plastic surgery is still like boob job, butt implants, facelift. It's more, all of those like heavy surgeries where now people are doing little nip tucks here and there.
Yeah, and I know people who have done retouching for Kim and like photos and videos, and they have to edit out certain marks, points of entry, anything necessarily that shows that like she has gotten work done or you can see the scars. So yes, it's true, but like in post-production, everyone's like scrub, scrub, scrub.
Yeah. What have you heard that she's had done?
I've just seen like, not like an incision, but like a mark. I'm blanking on what it is. It's kind of like a liposuction or like a fat removal. And so she has like on, I believe the upper or lower part that it usually gets scrubbed in photos.
Interesting. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, no one does know about it because it's all being scrubbed away.
Interesting.
Right. But I love when the people who do post-production share on their close friends and violate their NDAs and say, I'm retouching this of Kim.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I know a big conversation right now is about Cheryl Burke. Have you seen her and her face?
I feel like you're obsessed with people's faces. You have so many of the girls, you're like, have you seen this girl's face?
Well, but this face, have you not seen her face? This one is a bit drastic.
I'd like to know.
I'm going to show you so you can see this with your own eyes. So here's the OG Cheryl Burke. This we know her from Dancing with the Stars, okay? And then if you come here, this is the new Cheryl Burke.
That's a different person.
It looks like an entirely different person. That's the original Cheryl Burke. And that's the new Cheryl Burke.
You know, I love when everyone does like a slicked back hair. It gives me like very American Horror Story. Like, oh, they're changing it up. Very different, not also from the hair, but like the face structurally.
Well, her face. So she just did an interview, I believe with Entertainment Tonight. And she says that she's done nothing. She has not done Ozempic because people are like, oh, well, that's kind of like the sunken in Ozempic face. She said, no, she's never done Ozempic. And they said, have you had a facelift? And she said, no, she hasn't had a facelift. But like people are looking at the two photos, or like the recent photos and the older photos, and she looks drastically different. Like it looks like an entirely different person. Like that does not look like Cheryl Burke. Now, arguably, I think some people can focus in on the hair, right? Like she used to always wear her hair down, where clearly she's got a giant forehead. So when you don't have the bangs, you can see the forehead a bit more. It also kind of looks like maybe she's wearing a wig. Who knows? But not only that, but like her face is more sunken in. So maybe if it wasn't Ozempic, and maybe it's Wegovy, right? She's like, I didn't take Ozempic, but maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it could be one of the other ones. But it looks to me like maybe a buccal fat removal, because if you look at her before face, like it was just so much more round, whereas now it's so much more narrow, and like her face is a bit more sunken in. So if it's not Ozempic face, it could be buccal fat removal. And then, I mean, her eye makeup is different for sure. Her brows are a bit lighter. They're not as harsh as before. So makeup, I think, is a big factor, but the structure of her face is just innately different.
Makeup does wonders.
It does, but this is not makeup.
But after a while, you kind of wonder. She's giving very Julianne Moore, like in that second photo.
She does look like Julianne Moore, which is not what she looked like originally.
Yeah.
It looks like, I mean, it could also be lasers. Botox. It's very obvious she has Botox in these photos. It's just like her entire face is frozen. I would think maybe a bit of a brow lift, lots of Botox, buccal fat removal, new hair.
Surgeon Zack coming in with every list of grocery items people have gotten done.
It just based off like it just looks she just looks like an entirely different person.
I'll say this. I think everyone can get the work done they want. Do the damn thing. I think when, again, like back to Kylie, when people deny they've gotten anything done, it's just like no one wants to admit they've gotten stuff done, but it's like, let's be realistic.
I don't see the harm in that.
Yeah, it's like
I think it's better to like talk about what you've had done and what you like and what you don't like.
You want to make yourself look good, feel good. And I don't think it makes anybody feel good if you're denying if there is something you've gotten done, you know, like it makes you feel like you're not telling the truth, and then people also feel like you're not telling the truth.
Yeah. Like, well, I don't mind talking about the stuff that I've had done because, like, for me, I mean, my face has changed a lot in the last, like, I would say 3 years, like, drastically. Because, I mean, one, I think Invisalign changed the entire structure of my jaw because I had a really small jaw and we had to completely expand my jaw.
So
that really changed. And then I got filler, and I actually am I liked it when I first got it, but I'm not a proponent of filler. And I had an appointment yesterday, and I'm in the process of I'm going to start dissolving my filler and then possibly considering maybe doing a fat transfer. I don't know. We're debating.
Are you being like a Kim and like trying to get your face to move a little bit more so you can act?
No, I don't. Well, I mean, that's an option too. But no, what it is though is what happens with filler, especially when you put it so under eye filler can look amazing when you first get it done, but the issue is it can transfer, and people also tell you,
and
I learned that
you get pillow face. Is that what it is?
So this is how pillow face happens. So they tell you that filler can last up to 12 to 18 months, but the reason they tell you it's only 12 to 18 months is because that's how long the studies have been done on filler in people's face. However, I haven't had filler in 2 years, and yet the filler is still very prominently still in my face. The difference, though, is it's migrated down a little bit, so it's now more in my mid-face versus immediately under my eyes, which is very common, and that
Ugh.
happens to a lot of people, is your filler migrates. It happens to people when they get lip filler, too, where sometimes they get it a little too high to the top of their lip, and then it migrates to above their lip. And so filler can move because it's essentially like water soluble. And so, or it's like the texture is similar to water because it's hyaluronic acid.
Mm.
And so there are different things that can happen. You can have like lymphatic drainage blockages. So yeah, when I saw my doctor yesterday, because I had gone away from him for a while and I was going to see other doctors just to like,
You're like,
you
I
know,
cheated a little bit, but I'm back.
I did cheat a little bit, and now, but then I didn't touch my face for 2 years, and I just like wanted everything to kind of reset. And in the process, I also stopped bleaching my hair. I went back to dark hair. I started like working on my hairline. I got LASIK. I straightened my
Yeah.
teeth. Like I did a number of different things that I feel like changed my face a lot. But now we're in the process of potentially dissolving the filler, but like doing it very small and gradually, which I feel like filler dissolver is a thing like Kylie Jenner talks about dissolving her lips.
Oh,
Like a
painful.
number. But so wait, so your point about pillow face is how that happens is because people think that filler only lasts for about 12 months. What happens, like in my case, is sometimes the filler can move and migrate, but you think that you need a little bit more. So you go in and you keep getting more and more filler. And so you fill in all these little areas, but the filler is moving all around your face. So then, and it doesn't dissolve within that 1 year, or I guess it depends per person. But again, like with me, I haven't had filler in over 24 months at this point, and it's still very prominently there. It's just shifted a little bit. So people just keep getting more and more filler, and they get it touched up more and more. And all it does is make your face bigger and wider and puffier.
Just painful all around. I don't want to have people touching my face. Leave me alone.
Well, you have good facial structure, though. I was really hollow and sunken in under my eyes.
You're like, I'm a hollow bitch underneath here.
I was, and then we got it fixed, and I went to one doctor, and I really liked the results, and then I went to another doctor, and she put, I think, just like way too much in my face, and that's why I think it's still in my face, is I think she just overdid it.
Well, shit. Damn. Okay, well, I'm educated about
that's
Cheryl
our-
Burke's face and filler. So
That's our plastic surgery portion of the show.
yeah, I mean, speaking of this and tying into our watch or skip, which we're about to hit, I wanted to, before we get into some upcoming titles, recap about Julianne Moore, Sirens, because, ooh, like last episode we had Jess on the podcast and she was talking about Sirens. And so my boyfriend was talking about Sirens. I was like, fuck it, I'm going in. It's 5 episodes and it goes by fast, even though they're like 45 minutes an hour. Do you know what a siren is? Do you remember those in mythology?
Aren't they like sexy ladies, and they like do things to make you like they seduce you?
Yeah, they're like the women on like the coast or like the shoreline, and basically they would lure men in, like fishermen, people who were like on a boat to, go towards them and crash their boat. So like this is ancient like myth, folklore, Greek mythology, and so these women can seduce men, and so the series called Sirens is about these women who instill these men to get like power, and it is honestly very well done. It has a really good trio of girls, a settling of a girl who is one of the sisters away for the summer working for a very, very powerful rich woman, and her sister comes to this area unannounced and says, I need your help with dad. Help me with dad. I know you're away for the summer, but like you're a completely fucking different person. And they get encapsulated in this like world that is the sirens of that, rich socialite life.
Interesting.
Right? I was trying to be, I don't know, try to be vague when we do like these descriptions because I don't want to like give it away, but I want to like hook you. As soon as you like give too much of the plot away, everyone's like, you spoiled it, Andy.
Well, I don't think you spoiled this one.
Thank you. You're very welcome. But I don't know. I just love watching women seduce men to get what they want in a TV series.
It's very, very pro women.
Very pro women. Very pro many things. Pro death. Anyway.
I don't think I watched anything Oh, Hacks. I watched the new season of Hacks.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen
That
Hacks in
was
a
great.
while.
I love Hacks. I mean, yeah, I love Hacks. This season, it was good. I don't know if I loved the ending, but it sets us up for a season 5. But
Final season.
yeah. Listen, is it the final season?
I mean, I'm wondering.
Oh, I don't think it's the final season. But I thought Hacks was great. It's so funny, and this one, I mean, it wasn't like the strongest season because again, once you're 4 seasons deep, it's 4 seasons deep. I feel like the first 2 are always really good, and then by seasons 3, 4, 5, like it kind of just the plot kind of ends up going a little
Yeah.
bit. But I recommend Hacks. It's still really good. It's still really funny. But I'm glad that we are finally after me begging for months and months and months
On your hands
getting
and knees, which you're never on those.
we're finally getting Stranger Things, the final chapter,
Yeah, we have a November and December release date for.
and January.
Oh,
It's going to be released in 3 parts. So there's volume 1 that comes out on Thanksgiving, volume 2 that comes out on Christmas, and then volume 3 that comes out on New Year's Eve.
damn. New Year's Eve, everyone's like, honey, I'm watching Stranger Things. Fuck off.
I mean, I feel like the countdown shows, they're not as fun as they used to be.
Neither is New Year's.
You know, like for New Year's Eve, like I feel like they used to be really good and then they kind of have fallen off. Or maybe it's just it's so much of the same thing and people are kind of just tired of it. I don't know. You didn't even have one on for your New Year's Eve party
I
this year.
tried. I tried to live stream something. Everything was like, sign up for this. I'm like, can I just see a
Why
ball
didn't you
drop?
just steal somebody's password? You had enough of us in the room.
Well, no one offered.
I was drinking.
Yeah.
I would have offered.
You're like, don't know where to stream it. It's going to suck. But
But I feel like nobody really watches them anymore unless there's like a good performance, but then people only want to watch that one performance. But like I mean, unless you're like kind of, if you're at a party, like nobody wants to watch the countdown shows. You just want to watch the countdown.
it's the final.
Didn't we get
Yeah.
the time wrong too?
I don't think
Weren't we like
so.
weren't we like a few minutes off or something?
No. I think we turned on the Las Vegas ball at the very end. Like, and we were just on the Las Vegas Strip live stream of people just celebrating on the streets.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm excited for your Stranger Things finally getting a needed release date to make you happy and
Finally,
give you a
the final
conclusion.
chapter.
We also have a few other
Oh,
things
sure.
that Netflix announced. Obviously, Wednesday, you know, Lady Gaga's joining the cast. We have a bunch of other different things they announced for Tadum, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how to call it anymore. I've heard a controversial debate back and forth. Just CEO Netflix, please put it out, lay it out for me. What is it? But aside from the Netflix releases, there's this interesting thing coming up that is with Luca Guadagnino, and he is in talks to direct this title called Artificial, which is a recounting of the tumultuous period at the company OpenAI, which ChatGPT, that saw Sam Altman fired and rehired in a matter of days. So, I mean, Luca Guadagnino does very dramatic, very high-end stuff. Like we saw Challengers, we had Queer, and I mean, I don't know about you, but I watched the Apple series about WeWork. And so when you get like a drama about like a real life situation and real companies, I think I get a little hooked. I don't know enough about OpenAI though. I wonder how they're going to spin this.
Boring.
And that's your opinion. But I just think when it comes to tech, there's just so much fuck you money that maybe that's what this is going to be mostly about. Sources say Amazon's looking to get into production going this summer, and they're going to shoot in San Francisco and Italy. So it has potential, you know, depending on how they go about it. Most people don't even know who this man is, but I think it could have potential because of Luca Guadagnino, especially after Challengers and what he did there.
Sure. You can watch it and let us know if it's worth watching or skipping.
Oh my God. Okay. Well,
We'll put it on your list.
I
of
thought I'd
homework.
just give you that little fun update, but I wanted to give it to you to round out our legal update for this entire episode.
Ooh, we got a lot of legal updates today. So for starters, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erika Jayne, her husband Tom Girardi, has finally been sentenced.
Oh, it took a
He
minute.
lost his trial earlier this year, and he was originally asking to be sent to a care facility to serve out his sentence. And the judge said, no, you are not going to a care facility. You're going to the clinker. We're locking you up. You're going to prison. And they're sending him to prison for 7 years and 3 months.
That doesn't seem like very long.
Well, no, especially when you consider like Jen Shaw was sentenced to 7 years and she's probably going to be out in like 5.5. So, I mean, he may get out early. He is old. He's
Yeah.
kind of like deteriorating. So he may die in prison or he may get out. I mean, I don't even know what he would do when he gets out of prison. 7 years at that age is a long time, but it's also not a long time. But the fact that they're sending him to prison, I mean, they haven't really been able to confirm that his dementia is as
Bad as it is.
advanced as he's claiming that it is, based off of their own evaluations of him. So the judge made her determination: 7 years or just over 7 years, he's going to prison. But I think people are shocked by that number because they think that he should go to prison for a lot longer. But people need to remember the charges against him were very specific and they were primarily tied to a smaller amount of money that was embezzled from clients here in California. Now, he does have another case in Illinois that may likely end up being dismissed now that he's going to prison. But there was the Lion Air victims. Those people got their money. That was about $2 million. They got paid out their money. We'll see what happens in that case. It's very unlikely that he's going to have to serve prison in California and in Illinois. At this point, I think the charges in Illinois may just be dropped against him. But it was not all of these cases that we heard about in the press. There were a number of people that came out with allegations against Tom Girardi and claims that they didn't get paid their money. A lot of them ended up just settling, and a lot of them are getting paid out by the bankruptcy trustee now. This was just one case that they were able to take him to trial for here in California. So it's not encompassing of all of the crimes that he allegedly committed and all the clients that he bamboozled. It's a bit more specific. But then we have the Diddy trial that's still going on. We have the hotel staffer that got a copy of the video of Diddy assaulting Cassie, and he testified, and he said that he was paid, I think in total they were paid $100,000. But so I guess what happened was Diddy's chief of staff called the hotel and said, hey, we heard that there's this video that exists. Diddy was really drunk. He doesn't remember what happened. So can you give us a copy of this footage?
Can you also imagine like how they did find out? It's like they got a tip from inside the hotel saying like,
no, I think Diddy was aware and knew what he was doing, and that was just the excuse that they used to obtain a copy of the footage.
yeah, he's probably like, I know there's a
footage
camera around. Yeah.
Yeah. So she asked, or I guess that was her way of trying to, I don't know. I mean, he was in the hallway, wasn't he?
Yeah, and that's what I had to think about. Now that I said it out loud, I was like, he probably clocked a camera and was like, fuck me.
Yeah. And so chief of staff calls security, says, we need the footage. He says, you need a subpoena. So then they end up, I guess, meeting with him and they made an initial offer of $50,000. They said, they were offering to pay. Security guard went to his manager. Manager said, okay, we'll do it for 50 grand. So they said, give us 50 grand, then the footage is yours. And so that was the exchange. Diddy, I guess, ended up giving them 100 grand, had them sign NDAs, made them verify that this was the only copy of the footage that existed, and the remaining footage was deleted from the server. They said that it was. This guy said he didn't even know how the footage leaked into the press because he believed that there was only that one copy that they had on a USB that they handed over to Diddy. So, yeah, it's crazy. But, I mean, 100K, he says that he heard from Diddy once after that wishing him a happy Easter, probably like a veiled threat. And then he said he reached out to a Diddy another time after that, like I guess looking for work, and Diddy never got back to him. Diddy ghosted him. But they also said that when they made the exchange for the footage and the 100K, because it was initially 50 and they added on an additional 50, that Diddy FaceTimed Cassie and made sure she said that she didn't want the footage out either. She said, I think she had a movie coming out, and she was just like, it would cause really bad publicity if this comes out. So they have her on record as well, or at least according to this guy's testimony, that she also requested that the footage not be released either.
My question, my question is like, in these cases too, like when people do accept a bribery or like some sort of money exchange, like people usually go, okay, that's not the main thing we're going after here, but like you sometimes wonder what the repercussions are going to be for those people who did accept some sort of funds, like the
Yeah,
property's no longer around, so like you
yeah,
can't get dismissed from your job. Obviously, it might carry with you just for the rest of life and whatever career you have.
yeah. I feel like I don't know. It's also tricky considering the fact that it was the hotel staff that was asking for 50. Like they gave a number that they were requesting to receive in order to conceal the video. And then the fact that they're saying that they also had Cassie, testify that she also wanted the
She's probably
video
scared.
removed.
Yeah.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying from a legal perspective, I don't think this helps the prosecution's case. I think if anything, this witness ended up hurting them in the end because there are additional details that I think make it seem like everybody was complicit in this without making it seem like Diddy had any due influence over anybody. Like he didn't say, "Let me pay you 50,000." They asked for 50,000 and they said, "Okay, we'll delete it." And they engaged in this willingly rather than them being extorted in some way. Like it doesn't seem like Diddy made any threats to them. He seemed to be begging them to give him the tape because he said that it would ruin his reputation, but they were the ones that arguably could have um, can now be
Hmm.
portrayed as the ones that were trying to extort him because they were in possession of the video. They said that they didn't call the police though because there was no need for them to call the police, and Cassie didn't request that they call the
Hmm.
police, so that's why police never got involved.
I do think they're going to get him on racketeering. When it comes to like the
But these are
former,
the charges that would prove racketeering. This
well,
would be
the
the
former, the
bribery.
former assistant and the other things Cassie had pointed out, like the paying for like the livelihood and like the threats, and I think they might be able to like push it. I think it's going to be a bit dicey in some other parts, but the former assistant testifying, that obviously can carry weight of like the racketeering
All
charges.
she,
This one though,
all she really said was he threw spaghetti at her.
no, she also said that like he came into the room and like forced oral sex on her and like a bunch of other things that were
But
obviously
that's
like
not
tracking her
racketeering,
down.
that's assault.
True.
Like with Cassie, like again, if he and this is where I'm like, if the charges were assault, there's video of him beating Cassie. Like there's no disputing that. That's very clear evidence, but they haven't charged him with assault. They haven't charged like they're specifically charging him with racketeering, which has to prove that he was running a criminal enterprise, which means you have to have multiple layers of the racketeering charges in order to make it stick. And again, if the best they have is bribery and the bribery is coming from the hotel staff and they were the ones that were, you know, asking him for money before he even offered up any money, or if no threats were actually made, but he paid the money, again, that to me looks more like extortion from the hotel staff rather than it does bribery.
Yeah, they might have to go back to Cassie's, freak off's testimony and, feeling coerced to set those up. I don't know.
But they have her text messages, and her text messages say she wants more freak offs whenever you want. He's like, name the time or place. Or when she talks about being under the influence, and he's just like, well, being under the influence isn't fun. I want you present and aware. So let's do a freak off when you're not out of it, when you're not under the influence. So it made it seem like she was, even though he provided the substances, she was actively engaging in the substances and participating in the behavior on her own accord. I believe her, and I believe that she felt pressured. I believe that there was probably some Stockholm syndrome. But even in her own testimony, she would talk about how much she loved Diddy. That it's like, well, was it
Mhm.
love or was it Stockholm syndrome? And arguably it could have been both, but legally to prove that, that's where it's getting really challenging.
And also, we have some new legal provisions and the next, last legal update. I'm so tired of these sometimes because it's just a back and forth. But, you know, Blake's new withdraw of emotional distress to essentially prove that in a court of law to access medical records and more, she's dropped the claims of emotional distress, which
Doesn't make her case look good.
no,
So
that's a big
Yeah. So Baldoni's team, Brian Friedman, they were requesting Blake Lively's medical records because they're saying if she's emotionally distressed, then she needs to prove that. And so there were two claims of emotional distress. There was intentional infliction, and then there was negligence. So she's saying that their actions negligently affected her mental health, and on top of that, they intentionally affected her mental health. And so they were like, okay, well, then you have to provide proof of that. We need therapy notes. We need psychiatric evaluations. Like whatever evidence you have, you need to turn over your medical records. She said, no, I don't want to turn over my medical records. And so she's like, instead of giving you my medical records, I'm just going to withdraw these claims. And so, but the thing is, she was asking for that. She is asking to withdraw these claims without prejudice, which means she has an opportunity to bring these claims back later down the line. Whereas Baldoni's team is like, well, if you're withdrawing the claims, then you have to withdraw them with prejudice, meaning they're dismissed and they're done altogether. And so they were going back and forth at it in their latest letters to the judge. Baldoni's team was filing a motion to compel so that she could produce the documents. The judge weighed in and finally made a decision and basically said, like, you two need to figure out whether you're going to allow these claims to go with prejudice or without prejudice. Like, I'm leaving it up to you guys to determine that for now. But as of right now, she's not being compelled to turn over any evidence because she's not bringing forth those claims. But he says, should this be something that is determined that she needs to move forward with her claims of emotional distress, then the judge is going to make her turn over her medical records. Like, that's not an option.
It was also a big talking point on social media because of all the appearances and all of the other, press. And so people do pull out of press for a lot of different reasons, scheduling conflicts, much more. But
look at J.Lo when she was going through her divorce. She had a movie and an album and a tour to promote, and she was still doing press, but she heavily limited it because she didn't want to talk about her relationship.
Yeah. And so Tom Girardi's going to jail. That's the only real big movement in the legal update.
Prison, not jail, prison.
Are there differences?
Jail's like local, prison's federal.
Thank you for clarifying. I needed that. Yeah. Wow.
Prison's where you really don't want to end up. Jail's where you go if you get a DUI and you're arrested for the night.
I don't know why I immediately thought of Lady Gaga, GUY, instead of DUI.
Guy.
Anyway. Yeah, well, 100K. That's all I can think about also. But thank you for 100. It is crazy.
Yay.
It is. I think it took us a while to figure out our flow of a podcast in the beginning, and like a lot of things in life has happened to both Zack and I. Every time I feel like every month we log on to do one of these things or talk in person, and like we still show up every day somehow. But thank you for 100. We appreciate just the fact that someone wants to listen to somebody.
And the consistency of continuing and listening to us week after week and sticking with us and allowing us a little grace to navigate the podcast when we first started it. And it's been fun.
Yeah, and
it's been a fun year.
Every time I see, an announcement of a podcast, I go, another one. And I'm like, well, we just started a year ago too, but like,
another one, thank you.
I'm like, how long you hoes gonna last? Because we barely last sometimes, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, be sure to stick around, and we'll see y'all real soon.